Hi, writers. Today is the day. We get to take all of the little steps we did now to launch into a story. It's exciting. It is. Be excited. So, here's what you got to do. Open up your notebook to the sentences you wrote yesterday. So, you helped me write these ones about circles. And you need to pick one that you're going to blow up into a story. So, pick one that you can picture forming a story around. So, I could write a story about these kids playing catch. And usually a story has some sort of problem. That's what makes it interesting. So if I did this one, maybe the beach ball would blow away and they would have to chase it. That could be the problem. It could be about them trying to find it. Or I could write about the frisbee and the dog catching it. Maybe it could be the same problem. Maybe the dog kept missing it and then finally he caught it at the end. That could be interesting. Or I could write about the sun beating on my back. Oh, I know a problem. I forgot to wear enough sunscreen and I got a bad burn and I learned a lesson. Maybe something like that. So, I just wanted to make sure you know I do have end marks here. I just need to make them a little hard solid for you to see them. So the first part is really thinking through which one you're going to choose because you don't want to choose one and then be like, I don't know what my story is. So take a little time now. And great writers always talk about it. You don't have to have anyone to talk to. You could talk to a stuffed animal and tell them what you're thinking for a story. You can just talk inside your head if there's a lot of people around you and you don't want to talk out loud. Or maybe you do have someone at home you want to talk with. So I'm going to pretend I'm talking to my stuffed animal. All right, let's see. Which story makes me most excited to write? Mm, I kind of like the story about getting the sunburn because I know when I read books in school, a lot of times there's a lesson or a moral. So that one would be a good way to write a lesson about why it's important to wear sunscreen. So there'll be a problem and a lesson. That would make an exciting story. Look at that. I picked my topic. So now I know what my story is going to be about. I need to flip to a new page and I can start writing. Now, some people like to just write, and some people like to plan a little bit more. If you're a planning type of person, I'd recommend some scrap paper or whiteboard, or do it in your notebook on one side of the page and just think through a few things. I'm going to show you one way to do it. And this way is called a timeline. So, a timeline sometimes helps me sketch out my story before I start writing. So, I already know the end of my story is that I'm going to get a burn and learn a lesson. So this would be towards the end of the story right here. So I'm going to put a little line and I'm going to write learned lesson because that's how I'm going to end my story, that I learned a lesson. At the beginning of my story, I'm going to be at the beach reading. At the kind of towards the end, I guess, is when I'm going to realize I have a burn. Got a sunburn. And then I got to think a little more about what's going to happen in between to make it interesting. Um, oh, I know. I fell asleep reading. And that's when I woke up, I realized I had a sunburn. Okay. Fell asleep. So the only thing I'm asking myself now is why didn't I put sunscreen on in the first place? Maybe I put on lotion that wasn't sunscreen. It was just Bath and Body Works scented lotion. Or maybe I just forgot because I was so excited to be at the beach. Okay, maybe I'll go with that. So now I know the flow and I want to talk it through before I write it. So it was a beautiful, hot, sunny day, and I decided to relax by myself at the beach with my new favorite book. I laid out my towel, I picked the perfect spot, and I grabbed my book. I started reading, but before I knew it, I was in dreamland. I had all sorts of dreams when suddenly I got bopped in the head with a beach ball. I woke up and realized my back really hurt. Oh my goodness, I think I got a sunburn. I can't believe I forgot to put on sunscreen. And that day I learned to always make sure you put on sunscreen when you go to the beach. That could kind of work as my story. It's a good start. Okay, so I would recommend that maybe you plan it out a little bit, try out this timeline if you've never tried that before. If you're ready to write, you can skip this step, or if you have a different process, that's okay too. But sometimes a quick timeline and talking helps us write. All right, I'm gonna work on my story and then I'll post a final product in the next slide. Good luck with your story.